You ever had your Saturday morning peace get blown up by a sound so rude, so out of place, you think you're about to see the front of your house burning down? That's how this all started. Bang, bang, bang. On my front door, way too early, like somebody owed them money. I open it up still in my pajama pants, expecting some lost delivery guy or maybe the neighbor's kid again, but nope. It's three people standing there in matching navy shirts, fake badges, one of them holding a clipboard like it's a sword. And right in the middle is her Karen Throckmorton, queen of the Bleakwood Estates, HOA, and the kind of person who treats a property line like it's the Berlin Wall. She looks me in the eye and says, "Your property has been slated for annexation." I almost laughed. Like right then, my first thought was, here we go. She thinks she's here to just claim my land and my Saturday quiet, but what she doesn't know is that I untangle 50-ton wrecks for a living. My whole job is using leverage to pull disasters out of ditches. And trust me, I was about to use every bit of it on her. Now, my mornings are supposed to be sacred. Just me, the sun coming up through the trees, coffee that's actually hot for once, and the world not yet screaming for my attention. Nancy, my wife, likes to sit by the window with her book. Our daughter Sarah still shuffles around in her slippers, dragging her stuffed fox by the arm. It's peaceful, or it used to be. That day I'm standing there, the Three Stooges on my porch, feeling my blood pressure climb. The one I'd later learn was Todd, a round guy whose shirt looked ready to split, puffs his chest out and says, "We need to see your identification." My what, buddy? Unless you're selling a lifetime supply of silence, I'm not interested. That's when the tall, skinny one, let's just call him Ichabod, starts waving his clipboard around. "You're in violation of Bleakwood community standards." "That's fascinating," I tell him, "because my property line is right there at that hedge and your club starts on the other side." "But Karen, oh Karen." She leans forward like she's about to hand down a royal decree. "Mr. Jetson, under the revised charter, your lot now falls under Bleakwood jurisdiction. The grace period expired at midnight. You are now an unauthorized squatter on association land." Let me back up a sec. We bought this house for freedom. No HOA, no rules, just county land at the end of a quiet road. We'd been scraping by in a tiny apartment, listening to our upstairs neighbors' clog dancing routines at 3 in the morning, eating ramen, saving for something better. The day we closed, our agent Brenda handed us the keys and said, "Congratulations. No covenants, no restrictions. You're free." That word free tasted so good. We planned our future right there on empty floors that still smelled like new paint and possibility. But on moving day, she came over. Visor pulled, low haircut sharp enough to open an envelope holding a Tupperware full of Jell-O salad. "Welcome," she said. "Cold as a bank teller on Friday at 4:59. I'm Karen Throckmorton, president of Bleakwood Estates." I tried to be nice. "Thanks for the salad, but we're not in the HOA. Her smile got tighter. "A clerical error, I'm sure. We're working to rectify it." And that was it, the first shot across the bow. For 5 years, it was a Cold War. She'd stand on her porch, arms crossed, watching. If a guest car touched her lawn, she'd appear with a ruler. If my grass was a centimeter too tall, she'd glare from her window. We were the outcasts, the untucked shirt in her otherwise perfect closet. Back to my porch. I held up my deed, my name in big, bold letters, just so her little body cam could get a good look. Nancy's right behind me, phone out, already filming. "They're already on their way, honey," she says, sweet as can be. The trio freezes, caught in the act. Karen's eyes narrow. This isn't over. And that friends was the moment I knew the Cold War just went hot. The next week, letters start showing up. Official envelopes tucked under my wipers. Violation unapproved, Flora. My wife's tomatoes and zucchinis apparently have questionable girth. I read it to Nancy over breakfast, and she just about chokes on her coffee, laughing. Is she body-shaming my vegetables? But it wasn't funny for long. More letters followed. Welcome mat was the wrong color. My Ford F-150 parked in my own driveway was suddenly a commercial vehicle. Bird feeder attracted the wrong kind of birds. Holiday lights too festive. I tacked them all to the garage wall, a whole shrine of crazy. Then came the midnight inspections. Cameras I'd put up caught Todd and Ichabod measuring our grass at 2 a.m., whispering numbers back and forth. Every morning after another notice, it started to feel like we were under siege. But the sign was the last straw. One morning I opened the door to see a giant, ugly boundary dispute pending sign hammered right into my yard in big, bold print, a public mark of shame. I yanked it out and marched it right over to Karen's side, hammered it deep into her precious turf, right in front of her perfect oak tree logo. Then I called my lawyer. Nancy's on her laptop, pulling up county records of fire in her eyes I hadn't seen since Sarah was born. They want a war, Ted. They picked the wrong family. And I realized then my usual approach, outmuscling a wreck with brute force, wasn't going to cut it. This was going to take patience and precision. A few days later, my buddy Haas comes by. He's the kind of guy whose beard needs its own zip code. He parks his monster truck on the county road like always. We're working in the garage when a shiny white tow truck backs up to his Dodge. Unauthorized vehicle, the driver says, barely glancing at us. Violation. On a public road. Next thing you know, Barry, my tech nerd neighbor, is live streaming the whole mess from his driveway. I hop up on the running board. Haas gets the keys out, and suddenly it's like slapstick theater, grease everywhere, tow truck, guy yelling, Karen, zipping up in her golf cart, Barry egging us on like it's pay-per-view. The sheriff arrives, checks the tags, and tells the tow truck to unhook. You have zero jurisdiction here. Try this again and you'll be talking to the prosecutor. Karen turns pale. The crowd, okay, mostly Barry and a couple nosy neighbors, cheers. That's when I realized sometimes justice looks like a red-faced tow truck driver in a YouTube trending clip. Did that stop her? Not a chance. Next came the security team. Todd and Ichabod in new black polos, cheap plastic badges, and a new recruit, Thugzilla, a guy so big his shirt buttons look ready to take out an eye. One afternoon, he blocks my path in my own driveway. Restricted area, he grunts, arms folded. I keep my cool, walk into the garage, grab my leaf blower, the industrial kind that could strip paint off a barn. Fire it up, and as he's standing there looking confused, I unleash a storm of dust and leaves at his feet. He backs up, falls on his butt in the street, and Nancy's laughter rings out clear as a bell. Intimidation meet humiliation. Of course, Karen calls the cops. Not just any call, a 911 man with a weapon call. 2 deputies roll up, hands on their belts. I step out, keep my hands where they can see. Hostile, possibly armed, is what they heard. What they found was me with a leaf blower, Thugzilla still dusting off his pride in the street, and Nancy filming from the window. Karen zips up in her golf cart, screeching about trespass and boundaries. The older deputy checks the county plat right there on his phone. Ma'am, this isn't your jurisdiction. This is his land. You're the one trespassing. And if you call 911 again for this, you'll be the one in trouble. Karen's jaw drops. The tide is turning. That was the turning point. Nancy goes full detective. She finds a $10,000 payment from the HOA budget to Apex Development, a notorious local developer. The treasurer of the HOA surprise, he's a junior partner at the law firm that reps Apex. It's not about tomatoes or truck parking. It's about a backroom deal to get our house annexed, bankrupt us with bogus fines, and flip our place cheap to their developer buddies. We bundle up all the evidence, every letter, video, and midnight grass measurement, and take it to a property lawyer. He grins. You two just built me a case. This isn't just harassment. This is fraud. The next HOA meeting is legendary. Nancy and I show up, Barry live streaming, half the neighborhood there, people clutching their own violation notices. Karen tries to gavel everyone into silence, but folks aren't having it. Elderly Mrs. Halverson, fined $500 for a cracked driveway, speaks up. A young couple, fined for their toddler's plastic slide, pipes up. Nancy walks up to the front, slaps down the evidence, and asks the treasurer to explain his connection to Apex. Dead silence. The board turns on Karen. The vice president calls for an emergency vote. Karen and the treasurer get booted right then and there. The crowd cheers. Karen's out exposed, and everyone finally sees who's been stirring up misery for years. The new board sends us a letter of apology. They build a nice little fence at the property line, not to keep us out, but as a permanent no trespassing sign for any future HOA wannabes. A few weeks later, at the county commission hearing, the truth steamrolls through every lie Karen tries. The official surveyor lays down the maps clear as day. Our property is and always was free land, the $10,000 payment fraud. The commissioners refer Karen and her cronies for prosecution right there. As we walk out, 2 detectives handcuff her on suspicion of fraud and conspiracy. I watch her leave, not angry, not even satisfied, just quiet. After that, life settled into something better than before. Neighbors on both sides started waving again. Nancy's garden thrived tomatoes so big they'd make Karen faint. Barry sometimes yells, "Hey, local hero," as he passes by. Even the Bleakwood folks come over to say thanks at the store. It's weird, standing up for your own little patch of dirt can turn you into some kind of accidental legend. A few months later, I'm out back grilling, sun-shining hose, cracking jokes. Nancy's staking up her wild tomatoes, humming. Peace is back, but it's different now. Hard won. The kind of quiet you earn, not just hope for. And Karen, she pled out. Finds restitution, had to sell her house, move into a rental across the county. She drives by our place every morning past our fire engine red mailbox, a color the HOA will never approve, on her way to her new job. Maybe every time she sees it, she remembers you don't mess with a quiet man on his own land. You can call it petty, but to me it's just a little daily taste of justice. So here's my question. What's your line? When is it worth fighting for your little slice of peace, even if you've got to go toe-to-toe with a Karen and her army of rule-quoting stooges? Drop your stories, your thoughts on right and wrong in the comments. If you've ever had to stand up for your home, I want to hear it. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's that peace and justice out here, they taste pretty damn good together.